What's going on, everybody? Yooper here, and today I'm just going to answer a couple quick questions. Well, I'm going to answer them the best to my knowledge. A lot of people have made videos similar, and I can just kind of tell you what I know. And one of those questions is, what is the wobble, the spider wobble? People ask me a lot, what is the spider wobble? Basically, it's a neurological disorder that the spider gene carries, that if their chin isn't flat against the surface, they can't tell if they're right side up or upside down. And at night you will see him twisting around in his bin and kind of looking like a little roller coaster. And if you can kind of see right now, he's going upside down, and it's not as natural for a snake. It naturally would be this way. And this guy happens to have it really bad. You probably can't tell in this video, but his head is actually kicked a little bit to the left, and it actually stays that way, and it's really bad. He's happy, he eats fine. Sometimes with wobbles, like this guy, if I actually hold his food off to the side here or in front of him, then he can miss, and after he misses like 2 or 3 times, he might just not want to eat. I'm not really sure why that is, but that's what I've noticed. So what I've learned to do, and again, I don't know if this works for all wobble heads, look at this little roller coaster here. What I've done that works is I put the rodent right above his head, and almost every time he nails it without an issue. So that is pretty much what a wobble is in the spider gene. And again, some spiders have it worse than others. My Mojave bee has it very slightly, and if I didn't tell you he had it, you probably wouldn't notice. But since I see him doing his little disco in his bin, his bin at night, I know he does. This guy's really bad. You know, some people won't breed their spider genes if they have a bad wobble, and I am actually one of those people. I don't care if other people do. I'm not in the business of shaming anybody else, or for what they want to do. I choose not to. I wouldn't want to pass that on to its offspring, and I'm not necessarily sure if that's how it actually works, which it probably does. And so I choose just not to breed this guy because it's so bad. He's just a nice ambassador, a nice little mascot. He's the snake that I can always bring out and show a new person and not worry about him at all. I've showed you all this before, but I can grab right a hold of his head and he doesn't care. Most snakes would freak out right now, and I'm actually putting pressure, but he doesn't care. So this is a great ambassador snake that I use when I do demonstrations and stuff like that, because he's just so kind and so forgiving and willing to let you pet his head, and that's not normal for snakes, to be honest with you, but this guy's just really cool. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Okay, for the second part of this video, I want to talk about assist feeding. Now, I was asked recently, somebody was having an issue, and they asked if they should force feed their snake. Now, other people are going to have a different opinion than myself, and that's fine, but I would never force feed a snake. I would hopefully be able to catch it at a point where I could still assist feed. This little guy you're looking at right here, he was actually a very problem eater right from the get-go. About 12 days after his first shed, I offered him food. I like to offer live mouse hoppers as their first meals, because if you're having a hatchling that is not wanting to eat frozen thawed, they usually take to live mouse hoppers fairly easily. But this guy was afraid of them, and he was afraid of frozen thawed, so he was a little bit difficult. And I was really worried about him as he didn't take his first meal, and about a month later he still would not take a meal. And at that point in time, he started to look slightly, just starting to show the signs where I could see his back spine a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I'm getting worried about this, which is very typical. I mean, anybody who has a snake and it's not eating, you hear it all the time, my snake hasn't eaten, I'm worried. If this snake already had meals and was older, it wouldn't be an issue, because ball pythons go off food for a long period of time. They can. Again, I still believe that when a ball python goes off of food, it is something that you are doing wrong, but sometimes during breeding and things like that, snakes will go off of food, like females go off of food when they're about to ovulate. So it's a little bit before they ovulate actually. So you're much more cautious, and it's not that big of a deal when they're older snakes, because like I said, they can go for a very long time without food. But seeing as how this guy was young and never took his first meal, I was a little bit more worried. And I could start to see a slight ridge in his back from his spine, and his tail slightly starting to sink in just a little bit. I'm not sure if anybody else would have noticed it like I did, but I looked at him every single day and I could see a little bit of a difference. And you can also do it with weight. So when I seen that, I said, okay, it's a month and a half, I think it was by this time. He still hadn't taken his first meal from his first shed. So I decided I'm going to assist feed, and that's what I did. And it was real easy, because I'm not going to get into how to assist feed, because again, that's something that you hopefully won't have to do, and you have to be very careful doing it. But I was lucky enough that as soon as I got the nose of the rodent to the back of the snake's throat, make sure I emphasize throat, that he actually wrapped it up and took it down on his own, which is awesome. So that's what you want. That's the kind of response you want. If you have to put it all the way down in there and he doesn't coil it up, and you set him back in their bin or hold them upside down for a little bit, if you just hold them up a little bit, it helps them kind of grab it up and start swallowing it. But what you would like to see is, once it gets past a certain point, that the snake actually coils it up as if it was eating it itself, and that's a great sign. And that's what this guy did, and I actually had to assist him a couple times. But now I reach in there with a rodent and he snatches it up without an issue. So the answer to that question that I received is, I would never force feed a snake, because hopefully before something like that may have to happen, I would be able to assist feed. And I'll tell you, if your snake's at the point where you have to force feed it, your snake's in a lot of danger. So it's just a last resort, something you don't want to have to do. So that's my quick video for today. A little bit about the spider wobble, and a little bit about assist feeding, and when you should do it, and what you should kind of look for. And again, assist feeding is even a last resort as it is as well. But as far as force feeding, I just would never let it get to that point. Even if that meant I had to reach out to somebody else to find out exactly what I had to do. There's plenty of amazing breeders out there that would be able to help you do that. Again, even assist feeding is something you want to kind of save for last resort. Now this guy ended up, I believe it was actually 2 months from his first shed that he finally took his first meal. I believe that's what it was. I'd have to look at his chart, but it was a while, where a few, and there was a couple of these guys actually that were in the same boat, where everybody else was just hammering their food, and I had a few shy ones, and this was one of the shy ones. And as you can see, he's very healthy and happy now, and he eats just fine now. He's actually one of the better eaters, and sometimes that's all it takes, is a little jump start. So I hope that answers people's questions, and I want to thank everybody for watching my videos. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, let you know when I upload a video. Last chance to get yourself a Going Yooper t-shirt, so run over there and grab one. 50% of all profits go to Sam Jeffers Foundation. Thank you all, I love you all, see me, bye.